This is Valley News Live at noon.
Victims' names are starting to emerge today as anguished parents in Uvalde, Texas were asked to submit DNA to help identify their children. They are the youngest victims of the latest gun massacre in America, this time striking a close-knit, mostly Hispanic and Latino community. Reporter Liliana Luciana has more from Uvalde.
Parents gathered at Uvalde Civic Center late into the night Tuesday to await word on their children's fate. A volunteer we spoke with took these images as parents worked with authorities to gather DNA samples to help them identify the victims.
The scene was pretty horrific, and I understand that some of the bodies were hard to recognize.
Among the confirmed victims, 9-year-old Amerie Jo Garza. Her father posted this photo to Facebook with a single word comment: why? Annabel Guadalupe Rodriguez was just 10 years old. Shortly after the shooting, her father's desperation was clear as he arrived at the school grounds.
I gotta find her. After the shooting, they don't know where she's at.
Eva Mireles taught 4th grade at Robb Elementary School, trained in bilingual and special education. On the school's website, she wrote that she had a supportive, fun, and loving family. Her husband, Ruben Ruiz, is an officer of the Uvalde Police Force. Officials say the gunman went from classroom to classroom, shooting indiscriminately. As parents spoke with authorities, the horror of what happened to their children became clear.
There were some families that were upset and raising their voices, some of the law enforcement officials, where they would be given the information as far as a confirmation of death, and then the families would break down. Imagine the worst of the worst that could ever happen to a parent.
We know that some of those students are still recovering in this hospital. It's a predominantly Latino community that's still suffering, that's in grief, and that has been changed forever. We also know from the district that today there will be grief counselors. Today was supposed to be the second to last day of school, but of course school was canceled indefinitely yesterday. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Uvalde, Texas.
Meanwhile, an active shooter training will still take place at Cooperstown High School despite yesterday's shooting in Texas. It'll be going on this afternoon and into the evening. Blank bullets are being used for realism during the exercise. Authorities are asking the public to stay away from the area. The shooting in Texas has reignited the ongoing debate over gun control legislation. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the Senate will move quickly on legislation, including a background check bill already passed in the House. But Republicans have consistently been able to defeat gun control measures, and they accuse Democrats of politicizing tragedies to push an agenda.
It is unacceptable to the American people to think that there are not 10 of my Republican colleagues, just 10, 1 out of 5 over here, who would be ready to work to pass something.
You see Democrats and a lot of folks in the whose immediate solution is to try to restrict the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens.
Senator Ted Cruz, who represents Texas, is calling for armed law enforcement in schools, even though the Uvalde gunman met resistance from armed officers at the school. 54% of Americans surveyed by CBS News earlier this month say laws covering the sale of guns should be more strict. Turning our attention to the weather, we started off on the cool side with some areas seeing temperatures 15 to 20 degrees below average for this time of year. Let's check in with Summer Schnellbach with a quick look at the weather. Summer?
Thank you so much, JC, and thank you all for joining us on this Wednesday. We've been seeing some fairly cloudy skies across the Fargo area. This is a look in on our Corin Auto Sky Cam, a zoomed in view of the downtown area. Just a little bit of a shake to the camera as that breeze picks up a little bit this afternoon. Temperatures this morning were on the mild side, but we're not going to do much warming into this afternoon, and we can blame or thank the cloud cover in most part. We have had some showers and sprinkles in the far southern reaches of the Red River Valley, but those are really diminishing and pushing well off to the east, and we're seeing a bit more clearing in the cloud cover a little further east into the central Red River Valley than was originally expected, so temperatures might warm a little bit more than the low 60s here in the Southern Valley. But you can see this is a quite expansive system with a lot of rain down to the south, churning from Omaha and Wichita all the way out into the Great Lakes. Temperatures right now, we're seeing some readings in the 70s, 70 in Langdon and Hallock. Meanwhile, it's 57 in Fergus Falls, 54 in Wadena and Brainerd with the cooler rain-cooled air. Coming up in your hour-by-hour forecast and 7-day planner, we'll take a look at that warm-up with lots more 70s in the forecast and some thunderstorm chances for your Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you, Summer. Let's hope June is more consistently warm than April and May have been.
Sure hope so.
Thank you, Summer. New for you at noon, the Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office is looking for those responsible for who stole thousands of dollars worth of scrap metal over the weekend. Officials responded to a reported burglary Saturday night in Newton Township, east of New York Mills. The suspect or suspects forced their way into a secured building and stole 65 catalytic converters with an estimated total value of $6,500 and about $5,000 worth of copper optic scrap cable. The estimated total loss is more than $10,000. The Otter Tail County Sheriff's Office is asking anyone with information to contact them. Also new at noon, 3 miners are hurt following a crash and major fire in central Minnesota. Fire officials say a pickup crashed yesterday along Beauty Lake Road near Pillager, just west of Brainerd. Take a look at the damage. Initial reports say the fire was spreading from the pickup to the nearby woods. When crews arrived, they stopped the fire from spreading, but the pickup is a total loss. Today marks 2 years since the death of George Floyd, and former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck for more than 9 minutes while he was lying on his stomach during an arrest. Floyd's death sparked outrage, leading to international protest against the ways that police treat black citizens. All 4 officers involved in the incident were fired and charged after Floyd's death. President Biden is set to sign an executive order on police reform in a White House ceremony this afternoon. It'll create a national database of police misconduct that will be used by all federal law enforcement agencies. Dozens gathered in Duluth to wave goodbye to the USS Minneapolis St. Paul. The new Navy ship was commissioned in Minnesota last weekend. The ship and its crew are making her way to Florida, where they'll wait to be deployed on their first mission. Coming up at noon, more help is on the way for caregivers in desperate need of baby formula, as a second shipment is flying in from Germany today. But next, we're still on the warm-up, but Summer Schnellbach is tracking our chance for storms over Memorial Day weekend. Stay with us.